This feels pretty weird, doesn't it? It's like I'm breaking some unwritten rule, right? Well, psychologists would say that I'm breaking about 2 or 3 at once.
Too much staring, too little personal space. Put them together and suddenly something's got to give. You've got to break eye contact or get away.
It's actually called the elevator effect. Funny thing is, it's not confined to elevators.
It happens in all sorts of places. Even in a place where almost all the other unwritten rules don't apply.
You may have heard of Second Life. It's like a virtual society where you can interact with other people in the same massive online world. Except here, there's no preset game to play or guidelines to follow. You can do anything you want. If there's something you need, you build it. Build a new you, even. No rules, right? Well, not quite.
Stanford psychologist Nick Yee studies social behavior in Second Life. He agreed to meet me there to show me how those real-life unwritten rules are still important, even in a world where no one needs an elevator.
Where are we right now, Nick?
This is just a location in Second Life where people usually gather. So all these people are milling about, the pretty normal crowd.
I quickly found out that what's normal in Second Life isn't necessarily what's normal in real life.
Behind us looks like there's almost some sort of rabbit.
But there were some pretty important similarities, too.
And when you look across the scene in general, people are pretty spread out. They try to maintain a decent amount of personal space. Social psychology would say that that's the normal distance for conversation.
Feels natural, yeah. Other eerie similarities showed up too, like how men always keep more space between each other than they do when they're talking to a woman.
The two guys to our left, they're standing kind of apart, but Bryn and Yenke, kind of standing close together. When you look at a scene like this, I think, your first reaction might be to not think much about it because it's so ingrained that we don't read this scene and say, wow, look at all the social rules going on. As new people come in, they know where to stand. As we come in, we know how to stand.
And not only that, but the things that made me uncomfortable in Second Life were the same things that can make me uncomfortable in real life.
This guy's state of nudity makes me less interested in being near him than if he was clothed.
In real life, both personal distance and eye gaze are ways of expressing intimacy. Because right now, when we're both looking at each other like right then, that feels way too intimate for the situation right now,
Okay, I'll back off. I can take a hint.
Nick measured eye contact in Second Life by examining the degree to which people faced each other. The smaller the angle, the more eye contact. I figure the best way to see what Nick means is by starting an impromptu staring contest. This bald fellow seemed like a good enough candidate.
Here, I'm just kind of staring at him.
Even though they weren't real eyes, the staring contest was kind of uncomfortable. Proving Nick's point, I lost.
There was another final thing that was the most interesting one. It's called the elevator effect. So what the elevator effect says is that you need to balance personal distance with eye contact.
So in other words, rules 1 and 2 are related. They can balance each other out. If someone is standing too close to you, looking away makes it feel less weird. And when someone is staring right at you, stepping back breaks the tension. Just like in real life, the best way to see this unwritten rule in action is to break it.
Violate someone else's space here a little bit.
And sure enough,
That would be the normal social reaction in real life, and that's what Warner did as well here.
too much eye contact, too little personal space, same reaction. Everywhere we go. She was so uncomfortable, she flew away. And look how angry this person got.
So she moved away.
She's pushing me around now.
And that's what would happen in real life too.
It's just incredible to me because this isn't us. But it's just some sort of innate feeling. I don't want my digital character to be that close to someone else's digital character.
But why do we follow these rules in a virtual world? Why should things like interpersonal distance and eye contact even matter?
So there's probably both a hardwired innate component to it as well as a social component to it. And we're so used to these norms, as we're growing up, that, when someone violates them unexpectedly, it's incredibly psychologically uncomfortable when they do that. So what's interesting to me from a somewhat philosophical standpoint is how much our virtual lives, our virtual interactions, our virtual identities are bound to a certain extent by our real life rules and our real life stereotypes. How we're not as free in virtual worlds as we think we are.
So human nature may be the same no matter what brand new worlds we invent for ourselves. Still, if you find yourself in an awkward situation in Second Life, you do have an option that won't work anywhere else.
But in real life, you're stuck with me. At least until we get to the lobby. Can you hit 1, please?